Hello and welcome into this first ARCA Menards Series Rewind show of the week right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, we're currently in our hashtag Race to 1K. If you haven't done it already, go down below for me, hit that subscribe button. It is free to do. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming, which will vastly improve both the quality and quantity of coverage we are able to give you when we're able to get back to the track. All right, so let's talk about today's 8th race of the 2020 ARCA Menards Series West season, the General Tire 150 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Bullring, 150 laps, 56.2 miles. This race was something else. It looked like it was going to be a fairly boring race early on. It looked like it was just going to be a battle between Trevor Huddleston and Jesse Love, which wasn't completely surprising. Huddleston may have been the bigger surprise there with the season he has had thus far. I was actually really excited to see a good day out of Trevor Huddleston today after the disappointing season he has had thus far. Unfortunately, it would not last for him. Let's go ahead and take a look at your caution report for the day. 6 caution flags for a total of 25 laps. And the first caution flag here, Trevor Huddleston getting into the wall in turn 4 on lap 48. Blew a right front tire, got into that outside wall. Seemed to have a suspension issue of some sort which caused this issue. Very shortly afterward, his teammate Blaine Perkins got into the wall in turn 2 as well on lap 56. Also chalked that up to a suspension issue, so something seems to be amiss within that Sunrise Ford camp. Hopefully they're able to get that figured out going forward. Hopefully that's not a long-term issue. That's something that they can figure out and they are ready to go at the next race. Lap 67, we had debris on the front stretch, another debris caution at lap 106. Lap 131, Bridget Burgess got spun off of turn 4 by Jesse Love as Love went to lap her. And then final caution came at lap 138 as Holly Holland got into the wall in turn 3. She had really been falling back after that restart, and it seemed that there might have been an issue with the car, and those suspicions were confirmed when she got into the wall. Very disappointing though, because she was actually having, I think, the best day she has had thus far, running as high as 3rd at that point. So very disappointing to see her day end like that. I really hope that we're able to see more runs like that out of her going forward. It was very pleasant to see, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Lap leaders on the day, 3 drivers spent time out front in this race. Gracie Trotter led the most laps today at 95 laps led in this race. That's over half of the laps led. That's almost 3/4 of this race. Jesse Love spent 41 laps out front, and then of course Trevor Huddleston led 14 laps before his suspension issue caught up with him. So with Trevor Huddleston having issues, we don't see any apparent issues with Jesse Love or Gracie Trotter on the caution report, except for when Love spun Bridget Burgess, but he was able to continue after that. Burgess really was the only one that really had any issues come out of that. Would Jesse Love be able to pick up his 4th win of the season thus far? That would be half of the races so far this season that he would have won. Or would we see Gracie Trotter's first win in the ARCA Menards Series West? And the answer is Gracie Trotter picks up the victory in Las Vegas. A dominating victory. She was able to pick up the lead after that second restart. Everybody kind of got bottled up. She was able to sneak inside and get the lead after that, just before Blaine Perkins had his incident. After that point, there was really no touching her. Love got out front on restarts, nosed out front a couple times, but she was able to get right back around him right after that restart, and there was no looking back. Very dominating day for Gracie Trotter. Very good to see. I've been saying it for weeks now, that there's a very good chance she would get a win before the season was out. She was running that well. I'm not surprised by this in one bit. I think Gracie Trotter definitely has the talent, and this is the first of, I think, many wins that we're going to see out of Gracie Trotter at this level and at higher level. Gracie Trotter's the real deal, and we're about to see a lot more of this going into the future. Great to see her finally get that first one, only 8 races into her ARCA career. Gio Scelzi with a strong 2nd place run today. He was all over the board today, kind of like a yo-yo. As low as, I believe, like 6th or 7th at one point. Fought his way back to a 2nd place finish at the end of the day. Kudos to Gio Scelzi. He seems to really finally be picking up these stock cars. I think he's the next one out of that BMR camp. I believe should pick up a win at this point. We've seen wins out of Jesse Love and Gracie Trotter now. Gio Scelzi, I think, is the next in in line to pick up a win. He has shown maybe not necessarily the capability to win races, but at least the speed to run up there in contention for it. I don't know yet that I've necessarily seen the competition level out of him to be able to pick up a win, but he has run strong enough that I think he gets over this little bit of hump that he still has left, and we're going to see a win out of Gio Scelzi. I don't know if it's going to be before the end of the season. It could be. I wouldn't rule it out, but if it's not before the end of this season, I think he picks up a win next season, as long as he's back in ARCA West action next year. So a lot of question marks there, but I think Gio Scelzi's got the talent and the potential. It's just a matter of putting that performance on the track. Jesse Love fell back to third by the end of the race. He had sort of mechanical issues. He was talking about post-race how the car just kind of smelled funny all day, and I'm not really sure what the issue there for him was. Just not up to the performance level that I think he wanted out of this car, and really it showed there at the end of the race. There was a lot of smoke coming out of the car at different points in the race. I'm not sure if it was brake smoke or something else, if he was just using up the brakes too much, and that's why he ended up sliding back a little bit at the end of the race. But something obviously amiss out of that 19 car that they will hopefully get corrected going forward. Kyle Keller ended up in the 4th spot in the 7 car for Jerry Pitts, and Todd Souza with a strong top 5 running 5th. Rest of your top 10, Takuma Koga landed in the 6th position. Good run for him, as well as Bridget Burgess in 7th, and Bobby Hillis there in the 8th spot. Holly Holland, after her incident, ended up in the 9th position, 6 laps off the pace. Blaine Perkins ended up parking the car late in the race in the 10th position, did come back out to run some laps and ended up actually passing a couple of cars before the end of the race. So he made up a couple of points before the end of the race, but definitely not the day he was looking for, especially in the championship battle. Final page, 11th and 12th. Joey East had one of the strongest cars out there today. Unfortunately, had an ignition issue on a late restart and ended up having to park the car on lap 111 and was not able to finish, but really strong race out of Joey East. I think we saw a lot of talent out of him, and hopefully he turned a few heads today. And then Trevor Huddleston, of course, led 14 laps, but had that suspension issue and parked the car after 48 laps and came home shotgun on the field in 12th. So that's your results from the General Tire 150. Working on a Gracie Trotter interview. Seems to be a little bit of a difficult process to do, but we are working on that and should have that for you here within the next couple of days, hopefully, as long as that pans out for us. So keep an eye out for that. Keep your notifications turned on, that way you know exactly when that interview with Gracie goes up. So let's go ahead and look at your point standings for the ARCA Menards Series West following this race. 3 races remaining this season for the West Series, and this championship battle has loosened up just a bit. Jesse Love and Blaine Perkins came into this race very close on points. It's now a 15-point gap that Jesse Love holds over Blaine Perkins heading into the final 3 races of the season. Gracie Trotter has closed in just a little bit, still 30 points back. It's going to take a lot for her to make up that gap here in the remaining races. She's going to have to make up 10 points per race at least. And when we're running with about 12 to 14 car fields, that's going to be very hard to do. Not mathematically impossible at this point, but it's going to be very difficult for her to do. 3rd place and a win in her first season, I think, is still a fantastic finish for her and definitely something to build on going forward. Gio Scelzi still there in 4th, 43 back, and Trevor Huddleston 5th, 50 points off of the lead. Todd Souza has moved up to the 6th spot now over Holly Holland. Then you got Takuma Koga, Bobby Hillis, and Jack Wood also in the top 10. That's your point standings following the General Tire 150 with 3 races remaining in the ARCA West season. This championship battle has lengthened out just a little bit, but I think we're still going to get a good battle between Love and Perkins going down to the end of the season in Phoenix. So we want to keep an eye on that. We got a while till the next ARCA West race, but the main ARCA Menards Series is back in action this coming weekend at Springfield on the dirt. Their one and only dirt race this season thanks to the pandemic shutdown. They'll be on the dirt for that with only 2 races remaining in the main ARCA Menards Series season. And of course, we've got a Memphis Rewind coming up later tonight as well for their second to last race this season. So we got lots of stuff coming up for you here very shortly. So if you're not already subscribed, you need to be. Go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. While you're down there, hit that big thumbs up button for me if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. And as always, we want to thank our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you as always for your support. It is greatly appreciated. If you would like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/RacingNewsNow. Not required by any means, but it is greatly appreciated when you want to support us in that way. But that's going to about do it. That has been the ARCA Menards Series Rewind show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.